that I could not be here with you today, but I know that you are going to be on your very best behavior. Remember that we are Rams, we are champs, and we know how to act. All right, so let's go ahead and get started by saying our champs pledge. Please repeat after me. I'm welcome here. I belong. Great things are on the way. Make sure that you are sitting in your assigned seat with your eyes on the board, with your knees and whole body facing the board now. Okay. I must go over what a champ is real quick to make sure that I'm going to get a wonderful report from the teacher when I get back. So the C, a champ knows their conversation level, and it needs to be 0 right about now. The H, a champ knows how to get help. Raise your hand because shouting out is not an option. The A, activity. A champ is focused on what they need to do. M, movement. A champ knows how to sit up in their chair, sitting in a focused manner. P, participation. A champ knows how to participate by listening and following along. And S, once you remember to do those things and govern yourself accordingly, then you will be successful. All right, let's get into our lesson for today. So today, our goal is to learn how do musical instruments work to produce or make sound, and how can we observe this through bottle blowing? So that's going to be our goal and kind of what we keep in our mind during this class period. So in this lesson, you will learn that pitch is determined by the amount of air in a bottle. And you will investigate and explain that sound is produced by vibration or resonation, and that pitch depends on the speed of that vibration. So first, we're going to learn how different sounds are produced. Let's get some vocabulary under our belts first. All right, so the first one is pitch, and if you look towards the left of the board, you'll see the word pitch up on the wall. And pitch is just the quality or the degree of the highness or lowness of a tone. So when I say pitch, I'm basically talking about how high or how low it is. And we know that in music, we can give them different letters represent different pitches. You also see them where we have our solfege signs, our musical signs like do, re, mi. All of those are different pitches, okay? So it says here that pitch is determined by the vibrations which are causing the sound. On an instrument, pitch can be adjusted and fine-tuned. So that's the first word, pitch. This is our next word, vibrate. All right, so it says that to vibrate is when an object quakes or shivers at a regulated speed, usually in response to some kind of stimulus. So the first thing that pops into my mind is I think about like earthquakes, and those tectonic plates rub against each other or come apart. It causes tremors. That's what we feel. It causes those vibrations to happen in the earth. All right. So it says that when vibrations occur in water, waves are produced. So for those who like to go to the beach, that's what causes those waves. All right, this is our next word, resonate, resonates. All right, so it says that resonation is the act of sound waves vibrating in the air, producing a sound by virtue of their containers. So let's say that this stress ball is an instrument, right? So now, of course, it's plugged in right here, but if it was an instrument, it's going to have a sound hole. So what happens is that there's vibrations, and like the vibrations, they bounce up against the air molecules. And of course, if this was unplugged, it would resonate, which means it's bouncing up and down, right? And it's going to come out here. Now let's say that this was a different shape. Let's say that this is hand sanitizer bottle. So ignore this top here, but let's say that it was this shape. Because this is different from the stress ball here, the sound is going to be different. We see, for example, this is a little bit slender and it's longer. So that's going to cause a lower sound actually. So the shape of the container, that's what they mean, like the shape of the instrument also factors into the sound. So again, you cannot see what is resonating, but you can hear it. All right, so let us get started. So, do teacher, hold on. Let me go back real quick. Let me see what 11. Oh no, it won't let me do that. Okay. Never mind. Moving forward. All right, so let's think. How do you think that sound is produced? So, how do you think that sound is produced? I've kind of shared a little bit about it, but how do you think that sound is produced? So, take a minute to think about that. And it says, discuss some common examples like our voices when we speak, or the crash when you drop a book or drop something on the floor and you hear a sound. So, take about a minute to think about how is sound produced. No talking, mouth shut, ready, and think. Still not talking. Nope, nope. Stop talking. I shouldn't hear you. Stop talking. 10 more seconds. All right. So I want you to keep what you were thinking about. And as we go along, I will see what you were thinking about was true. All right. So how sound works. So it says that all sound is made by vibrations, right? All sound is made by vibrations, which then travel through the air. And these patterns of compressed air travel in waves with air pressure increasing and then decreasing, okay? And I'll show you an example of kind of what that looks like in a little bit here. All right, so what is your favorite instrument or an instrument that you like to listen to? So based on what we just learned and what you were thinking, try to explain how it works. Okay, so this is another thinking question here. So I'll read it again. So it says, what's your favorite instrument or an instrument that you like the sound of, that you like to hear? And based on what you just learned, try to explain how does it work? How does the sound come out of the instrument? What are your guesses? What are your thoughts? Okay. So no talking, ready, and think. Still thinking. All right, so now let's look at some of those examples of the vibrations and the waves that they were talking about. So for that, let me go to this right here. So actually, an oscillator, it's a machine, is an actual machine that measures the sound and measures the waves and everything that we're talking about today, actually. All righty. So well, here's another word that we'll talk about later on in music class, which is frequency. All right, let's check this out. Watch what happens to the, well, inside the mouth of these characters. Do you see that? Watch what happens when I go lower. What's happening to those waves? Yeah, the more spread out versus higher. They're faster. Okay. So that's an example of what I was just showing you on the other slide of how they work. And there's one more here. And if you know how to get into Clever, then you can go on these games. Let's see. This is the other one right here. Yeah, the spectrogram. It shows you in waves. Let's do this one. Do you see those waves? I'll keep it low. Yeah, so that's another example kind of in color that's showing you those sound waves. And because again, it's something that you can see in real life. You can hear it though. All right, so now let's get back over here. All right, so video time. So now we're going to check out this video of bottle blowing musicians. All right, it says, as you watch, pay attention to the different pitches. That's the sounds and stuff. So pay attention to the different pitches and see if you can understand how the sound is being made. All right, so that was really interesting. All right, so as we are thinking, the question asks us to think about how are they making all these sounds? But let's think about it. Did you hear just one pitch or just two? No, you heard different sounds. So how are they able to make all these different pitches just using bottles? So we're going to think about that for a second. And also, let me just say, I love that they are recycling, which is wonderful. So instead of just throwing all the bottles out, they found a very creative and useful way to recycle and make some awesome music. So how do you think that they were able to do that? Okay. So now that you have watched the video, what new things can you say about sound? All right, so then we're thinking back to our first thoughts. We're thinking back to when we're thinking about how instruments, our favorite instrument, makes a sound. Now we're going to think about, again, what are some new things that you have picked up from this video? Okay, so no talking. You know the drill. Quiet, ready, and think. I think this for 30 seconds. I'm looking at my clock, 30 seconds. Okay, about 10 more seconds, and we're thinking about the question on the board. All right, so now let's check out different types of instruments. And I know we talked about it before, but now we're going to focus a little bit more on them and how they make their sound. All right, so first we have our woodwind instruments, and most of them use small wooden mouthpieces called a reed. And it says that when you place your mouth on top of this mouthpiece and blow, it causes the reed to vibrate. And these vibrations then resonate, they bounce like that, inside the tube of the instrument. So these are some examples like an oboe. And an oboe actually has a double reed, which means it has two pieces of those thin pieces of wood together, okay? So it's a reed right here, and at the saxophone, the mouthpiece, there is a reed as well. So again, most woodwind instruments have a reed that helps it to make the sound. Next, we have our brass instruments. So it says brass instruments make sound through a metal mouthpiece. And the mouthpiece comes in different sizes. And brass instruments make their sound by placing their lips on their mouthpiece, which is circular, and they blow, kind of, you think of like buzzing your lips. So they're blowing air, their lips are buzzing in the mouthpiece, okay? And the larger the mouthpiece, the lower the sound of the instrument. So these are some examples of it. So we have this interesting looking trumpet here, trombone thing. And then we have our French one. That's the mouthpiece there. And then we have our string family. So all string instruments make sounds with strings that are taut, which means it's like tight, pulled tightly, or have tension. There are a lot of ways to manipulate these strings. So for example, it says longer strings will make a lower tone. So think about a string bass or a cello. Those are larger string instruments and they have a lower pitch, a lower tone. And it says that shorter ones and tighter strings make a higher sound. So think about what a ukulele that we learned about. Think about how high a ukulele can sound. And also think about a violin, how high it sounds. And then thicker strings can also make a lower sound versus thinner strings. So some of these examples we have here, like this guitar, so the violin. We also talked about the ukulele that we played in class. Now, one thing to add on to this. So sometimes you will find that the piano is also in the string family. And that's because if you open it up on the inside, each key has a string attached to it, and it has like a little lever as well. So what happens is that, like I said, this is the string and this is the lever. When you press that key down, or hammer rather, when you press that key down, the hammer taps the string and the string vibrates. So that's why sometimes people include the piano in the string family. And then last, we have our percussion instruments. And fourth graders, you saw them a couple of weeks ago when they came. We had some percussionists that come and do a show for us. So it says percussion instruments make a sound by being struck with either an object or your hand. It says drums have a hollow, which means an open space inside, which amplifies the noise of their stretched membrane, that's like the top of the drum, being hit. And the word amplifies just means it makes it bigger, it makes it louder. So some instruments are shaken like the maracas, and other instruments like cymbals are just playing, make a sound when they're hit. All right. These are some examples we have here. Here we have a glockenspiel, like that's what we have in class, the blue things. And here we have a drum kit. This drum kit has different drums on. Like here we have a snare, we got some toms, we have the hi-hat, we have some suspended cymbals, we have the kick drum. All right, so let's think about this one. Which of these musical instruments produces sound from resonating columns of air? What do you think from resonating columns of air? All right, and so it's actually the pipe organ. When I get back to school, I have to show you this video of this really huge pipe organ. All right, so now we're going to try some things together here. So in a minute, I'm going to give you a sheet of paper. You're going to create something called a bottle chart that's going to show us the pitches of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Okay? But we'll come back to this in a second. All righty, let me make sure I change something here. Go back real quick. All right, so, all right, let's look at this first. Let's think about this. Let's think about what we have learned so far about sound. And we're going to do this together. So it says label the bottles 1, 2, 3, or 4, 1 through 4, with the pitch you expect it to hear. That's what the sound you expect it'll make. So we're going to choose 1 for the bottle that is probably will make the lowest sound, and 4 for the bottle that's going to make the highest sound. All right, so let's just do a guess here. I'm just going to just do a random guess here. All right, so let's look at it first. So here we see this one is kind of a little bit under half. The second bottle is definitely more than half, almost full. The third bottle is kind of almost empty. And then the third one looks just a little bit almost right at half. All right, so let's see. How about, let's say that maybe this will be the lowest one. And again, I'm using a computer mouse, so my numbers may look a little messy. Let's say, how about this one is the second? Let's go over the next full one, maybe 3. Then maybe this bottle that's almost empty is 4. All right. All right, so now let's talk about how does sound and pitch work with a glass bottle xylophone. Again, no talking, pay attention.
Sound and pitch. How will changing the amount of water in a bottle affect the sound it makes? Here we have 5 bottles of identical size and shape. When tapped with a spoon, each bottle produces a similar sound. Let's add different amounts of water to each bottle and observe the effect this has on the sound produced. Notice that the amount of water in each bottle increases from left to right. Okay, time to tap. Wow! The more water there is in the bottle, the lower the sound. Let's try that again. So, why does the pitch change? When we tap the bottles, the glass and the water vibrate. Having to move all that water slows down the vibrations of the glass, and that, in turn, slows down the frequency of the sound waves. This produces a lower pitch. That was fun. See you next time.
All right, interesting. So now let's go back here and see what she was saying. All right, so she said that the more water in the bottle is going to slow down the vibration, which is going to cause it to make a lower sound. All right, so again, so I said this was, so this would be the lowest sound. Let's see which bottle comes next in terms of how much water. Oh, then this one over here would be 2. Which would make this one 3. So we're getting higher. And this bottle that's almost empty would be 4. It will make the highest sound because it has the least amount of water to travel through. All right, so now it's going to be our time. So I'm going to give you a sheet of paper. And what you're going to do is you're going to create a bottle chart that's similar to this, but I'll give you a paper with directions on it. All right. So you're going to think about the melody from Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And you're going to draw some bottles. It doesn't have to be fancy. It can just be just a regular rectangle. All right. I want you to see if you can draw bottles to show the pitch of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So you're going to need to draw. Let's find the syllables. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. So just draw 7 rectangles. Okay. You're going to think about that, the melody. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Are there any times when the notes are the pitches are the same? Do you recognize when they go up or down? Okay. So again, I'm going to give you a sheet of paper. It's going to have the directions on it. You're going to draw 7 rectangles because there are 7 syllables in that melody. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Okay. There's 7 bottles because there's 7 syllables. And for each of those syllables, you're going to color in where the water would be to make that sound, okay? And also think about the song that I showed you of the bottle top blowing musicians. Yeah. And again, the directions will be on the paper. Then, if you have any time left over, I would like for you to, on the back side of that, you're going to create your own musical instrument. So be creative. Draw your own musical instrument. Okay, so think about whether you want it to be like a string instrument, a brass instrument, a woodwind percussion. Okay, and then you're going to describe for me how does it work. So we'll ignore this, but you're going to tell me how does it work. So again, on the back side of that paper, you're going to create your own instrument. You're going to tell me how does it work? How does it produce sound? And this is 4th and 5th grade, so you're not just going to give me a circle and say it's a drum and not tap it. Nope. I want more. I want 4th and 5th grade work. All right. So again, all the directions for the bottle tap, the bottle tapping sheet is going to be on the paper. Okay. It's going to be on the paper. Got it? All right. Please try your best. This is 4th and 5th grade. So give me your best work. All right. And I look forward to seeing it when I get back. All right. Take care. Share the materials. Be on your best behavior. You're going to get your papers right now. All right. Bye.